Lacrosse community. My name is Ryan Berns. I'm the founder of the Lacrosse Leadership Institute. It's our mission to empower all those that love lacrosse, have used it as a foundational skill to ultimately live the lives of their dreams. We love to bring on passionate guests to share their stories about how they got involved in lacrosse and how they're leading with the skills they learned from the sport. Today we have the youngest NCAA coach, Coach James Stumpo, up in Wisconsin at Northland College. James, thank you so much for joining us today. I was jazzed as soon as we had that first phone call. Can you please share with the rest of the community how you got involved in lacrosse and what you're up to now?
Yeah, of course. First off, Ryan, thanks so much for having me on. I'm really excited about this, really happy to do this. And for me, getting started in lacrosse, I started playing when I was about 7. My brother picked it up first, played after him. And then after that, moved up into high school, played at a decent high school level. And then I moved to college, played Division III lacrosse down at Randolph College. And that's where I'd say I learned quite a bit about being a good teammate, trying to be a leader, where I knew my role at Randolph. I wasn't going to be a leader helping us win every game of the season. My freshman year in college, I was hurt. I got a blood clot in my leg, and I couldn't play my freshman year. And then I played my sophomore year, and I played my junior year, and I never really got the starting spot. And I started 2 games, one in goal, and then one we had a lot of injuries, and I started at defense. So I kind of learned there that being a team player is a lot more than just helping win on the field, where I distinctly remember my sophomore year of college. It was after I'd come back from injury and everything. We had a goalie who was a year older than me. And I remember coach gave him the starting spot. And I remember our first game of the season, he wasn't playing too well. Our coach kept telling me, like, hey, stay loose, stay warm up at halftime. I might throw you in. He never threw me in. And personally, I'd rather you not get me amped up. Rather, don't get me excited. Don't get my nerves running. Just either throw me in or don't throw me in. Don't try to warn me or anything. I don't want my nerves, anything like that. So I talked to him after the game. He says, all right, we're playing a really good team the next game. You'll probably get in at halftime. We were playing St. Mary's up in Maryland, and we had the game of the school's career. We ended up beating St. Mary's, and I remember everyone on the team being so excited, and I just couldn't celebrate. I was so pissed because I didn't get in. The other goalie played really well the whole game, and I distinctly remember being the one kid who was just upset. I was mad in the locker room. I was the first one out. Didn't even go to the tailgate upstairs that the parents put on. Just went back to my room. And one of my good friends, his name's Mitch. He's a coach down at Christ Church, a private school in Virginia now. I remember he came over and talked to me because he saw I was mad, just hey, what are you doing? Why are you so mad? We just beat St. Mary's. And I told him why, and he said, look, if that's the way coach is gonna handle it with goalie situation, man, just be as the most positive guy on the sidelines. You're gonna get your chance. And I love my college coach. He's still there, Andy Sinclair. He's awesome. Don't get me wrong, but I kind of changed a couple of things mentally with myself, where instead of standing at the end of the bench, I was standing on the bleacher or whatever bench they had at the game, cheering guys coming off the field, giving water to guys, just trying to do, if I wasn't going to be playing in the game, I was going to be the team's best cheerleader. I was going to do whatever it was I could to help out. And that has stuck with me for a while. And then after my junior year, I go home over the summer, and over summer break, I have I get another blood clot in my lung. So I'm now on blood thinners for life, and I couldn't play after that. So mentally, I just thought, you know what, I'm done with lacrosse. I can't see a lacrosse stick. I thought about going back to finish up my senior year and get my dual degree. I decided not to. I just got my degree in business. I had to finish 2 classes online over the summer. And I decided I'm just going to move on. I don't want to play lacrosse. I can't go back. And very quickly after entering the business world, I decided that I wanted to find a way to get back into lacrosse. I still think I have some unfinished business, I guess, and I needed to get back to the game that I loved. So I made a really hard push. I worked business jobs. I was a substitute teacher. I worked at a Costco. I did everything. And finally, for my I go back for my alumni game the year after I graduate. And I talked with my old coach, and it just so happened he had heard of a job opening down at a private military school in Southern Virginia. I talked with their AD, I talked with their president. I get the job about a week later, and I'm down there making $2,500 for 3 months, just coaching in the season. And looking back on it so far, that was some of the most fun I ever had. Those kids were great. I loved it. After that year, I had a couple of opportunities to potentially be an assistant coach at a Division III level, but Hargrave offered me a full-time job, nice salary, benefits, so I took that. And it just wasn't for me. I kind of quickly found out that it just wasn't for me, wasn't what I wanted to do. And I wanted to get to the college level. So I just started applying for every college job I could find. I reached out for more assistant jobs. I reached out to every coach, every AD. If there was a job opening, the AD at that school is going to get an email from. And I was just going to hound them until they tell me to, hey, leave me alone, or all right, we'll have it. You can come and apply. So finally, Northland, I see their opening, and I see it's in northern Wisconsin. I'm like, maybe I have a shot. I know I don't have a whole lot of experience. I have a year. I have 1 year of coaching lacrosse at a high school level. And I apply. I get a phone interview about a week later while I'm outside helping coach football practice. I talk with our AD, Seamus. He's a great guy. And I talk with his assistant hockey coach. Do a brief, probably 30, 45-minute interview. And then they fly me up a week later. And a couple of days after that, after I get back home, they call and offer me the job. And you ask, like, what's the pinnacle so far of my career? And I would say, as of right now, it would be that day when they offer me the job. Next day, I turn in my 2 weeks notice at Hargrave, and I leave. And they were very understanding, knowing that, hey, it's going to be a great opportunity for my career to move on to a higher level. And ever since then, so November 2019, I drove 20 hours across the country by myself to take the job. And I haven't looked back. I've loved it. It's been amazing up here. The people I work with are fantastic. The support up here is awesome. Community's great. The guys on the team are awesome. They were really helpful with helping me transition into being a head coach at the college level. They were great. So it's been awesome. It's been awesome. It's been definitely quite a journey up to this point, though.
Oh, Coach Stumpo, it sounds like it's been such a journey in terms of just battling, first of all the health conditions. I hope that everything's all right and continues to stay all right. I'm glad that nothing any more serious has transpired so far, hopefully.
Yeah, nothing.
Good. Well, blessings there, but the resiliency that you share and just the grit, the determination to show up as the best teammate, first of all. I think there's a lot of mental stakes that we get from lacrosse and just from sports in general. And then that resiliency to find that college role. I think that's so fascinating. Can you share a little bit in terms of, was that something that lacrosse gave you? Is that family gave you? How did you decide to just have that drive, that vision, that follow-up?
I think it came from a little bit of everything. It definitely came from my family. I mean, my parents have taught me from like a very young age, one, be your own advocate, where you know what's best for you. And if you want something, go out and just do it. Go out and try to accomplish it. So, I mean, telling my mom and dad, hey, I got a job in northern Wisconsin to coach lacrosse. I'm moving in 2 weeks. See ya. I mean, that was tough on them, but they've been nothing but supportive the entire way. And some of it, I think, also kind of just came from being in not the best situations, like in terms of missing my freshman year, deciding to graduate early and trying to move on. Just stuff like that, I think, helped me at least just, you know what, at this point, if I'm putting my mind to something, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Where I wanted to coach college lacrosse, and I made up my mind that's what I wanted to do. So I just went out. I applied to so many jobs, and I think part of it was the summer after my first year coaching at Hargrave. I had the opportunity to be an assistant coach down at a Division III school in Alabama. Didn't really pay a whole lot, as I'm sure most Division III assistant coaches know. It doesn't pay a whole lot. So I had that opportunity, or I could go back to Hargrave, make a nice salary, and be a little bit comfier. But I didn't enjoy my second job because I had a full-time job besides coaching down at Hargrave, and I couldn't really recruit. Private high school, there's so many rules there. But I took it because I thought it was going to be comfier, just like I decided to graduate early because I thought it was going to be comfier. Turns out I hated both decisions. So at this point, I think I don't want to just make the comfortable choice. And yeah, Northland, it's historic. Before I took over, I was the fourth coach in 4 years up here. So the turnover with the program, the turnover at the coaching position, the roster was really small. So it was not going to be the comfortable, easy choice to come up here. But to be a Division III head lacrosse coach at the age of 22 when I took over, I'm 23 now. It was just an amazing opportunity, and I'm so fortunate and so thankful to Northland, the administration, the athletic director, Seamus. I'm so happy that they gave me the opportunity, and now I'm just trying to return the favor up here.
Well, James, it sounds like whatever you set your mind to, you're able to accomplish, and you start to come to some realizations that easy doesn't mean good. Nothing good comes easy.
Right.
And I'm interested to hear where your mindset is now. What are you focused on? What are some of your big goals?
So right now, number one for me is getting the team through this spring, where this spring's going to be, it's so up in the air right now. We're very fortunate up here. As of right now, we are going to have a season. We have eight in-conference games going on, so that's huge. And it's going to be just pushing through the season. And I think we have a great opportunity to be a really solid team up in our conference. Even though our roster is small, recruiting last year for the class of 2020 obviously kind of hit a wall in March. So wasn't the biggest class in the world, but I think we'll be able to do some great things this spring and just kind of getting through the season. I want to play 8 games and I want to make the playoffs. That's the goal for the team. Finish in the top 4, make the playoffs. And then besides that, it's recruiting. Recruiting's the biggest thing for any college coach. That's who you get to coach. Whether you recruit to develop, you try to recruit the best talent, that's up to a coach to decide. But for me right now, it's recruiting guys that are going to come in, add depth to the roster, and help us win games. So far, we have 6 commitments for the class of 2021 and still looking to add quite a few more now. Our recruiting right now has been kind of unique, where we have kids coming in from Vermont, Wisconsin, Michigan, Nevada. We have 1 international student. So I'm really excited, and being at Northland with our huge emphasis kind of being on environment, sustainability, outdoor education. It's been, you can recruit anywhere because the kids that are really passionate about that stuff, when they find a school that fits, we have a great forestry, great fisheries and wildlife department. And if that's something that a student wants to major in, there aren't many Division III schools that offer that with lacrosse programs. So in that case, the school kind of sells itself, and I just get to be the coach to show them around campus. But no, it's been awesome up here, and I'm really looking forward. I'm really looking towards the future, finishing the class of 2021, moving on to the class of 2020 over here in the next couple of months, and starting recruiting process with them, and just mainly growing the roster and growing the caliber of players that we have up here.
How do you go ahead and pick the right players from a culture standpoint? I know that it's important to have skill from stick skills, IQ on the lacrosse field, but what do you look for in terms of the conversation with folks? So that way, and the reason I ask is if we have current high schoolers or middle schoolers thinking about playing at the next level, what should they be thinking about in terms of what a coach is looking for?
My best advice would just be carry yourself professionally. It's a job interview. When you go into it, you go to either meet a coach on the phone, talk with a coach on the phone, meet him in person on a tour, anything like that. It's a job interview. And some of the big things for me personally in the recruiting process, this isn't even necessarily just face-to-face or on the phone talking. Do you respond to emails quickly? Do you respond to text messages quickly? That's huge. Where if I feel like I'm wasting my time recruiting you or talking to you, I'm just going to stop. Where I'm not going to beg anyone. I'm not going to go on my hands and knees. I'm not going to call you 1,000 times just to try to get you to come here. And with that being said, one big thing I tell everyone who listens, especially for high schoolers, you get an email from a coach and you don't want to go there, respond and say no. It takes 1 minute to say, appreciate the interest, but no thanks. That's it. You'll never get another email. You'll never get another phone call from that coach. I promise. It's just courteous to do so. And that's all I'll mention with that. But again, going back to talking in person or what necessarily I'm looking for, it's someone who is passionate about the sport and someone who is looking to come in and make the program better. Now, in terms of how exactly do I determine that, it's just kind of a feel thing at this point. And so far with all of the kids that have come on campus and that I've met and I've talked to, I haven't had any negative feelings about them, because by the time they get on campus, they're pretty far along in the recruiting process. I've had some phone calls with kids, and I remember two distinctly. One, the kid and I scheduled a phone, the student, he scheduled a phone call, said, I will be free at this time, let's call and talk. I call him at that time. He answers, we FaceTime, he's in the barbershop getting a haircut. I'm no longer recruiting that kid. I was just like, man, you set this time apart. I set time out of my day to call you. All right, I'm done. And another one, I was talking with him on the phone. I was asking him a bunch of questions. He's just like, yeah, okay, sounds good, great. No, I don't have any questions for you. Just, if I don't think you're interested, I'm not going to be interested in you. And so there are some of those things where those ones are pretty obvious. Some of the smaller ones, I guess I'll kind of figure out either once they get here on campus next year or more talking to guys in person. But that's what happens with trying to build a deep roster. It's more competition within the roster and the ability to cut kids, where if I don't think you fit the culture that we have here very well, or you're being a drain on the bench, you're being a drain on the team, even if you're a starter, I don't want you. I don't. If you're a bad apple, you're ruining the mood, the morale of the team. If you're the best player or the worst player, you're done. I don't want to deal with it. I won't play those games. I will travel with 10, 11 guys who want to be here and want to play lacrosse, and I'll do that rather than beg guys with bad attitudes to come play for me.
Yeah, I think, Coach Stumpo, you hit the nail on the head. Finding the right people to be able to build, no matter what the team size ultimately is, it's finding those guys that want to be there. You hit on something huge: communication. Being able to set the right expectation as well and be on time for a meeting and be present and not distracted, and then showing engagement with one another. That's something that's huge, and you wouldn't think it needs to be taught, but it's important that we bring it up, because obviously you're facing that in your life. A big thing, though, that I know is really important with our community is talking about leadership and understanding leadership takes on different shapes. So, Coach Stumpo, I'd love to hear, what does leadership mean to you?
Leadership to me it can mean anything. There are guys who are great leaders by example. They're not going to say much. They're going to go out, they're going to do their work, they're going to get at it in the weight room, and they lead by example. We have a couple of those guys on the team right now. They're awesome. And then there are also guys where I kind of compare it more to myself in college, where I couldn't necessarily lead by example on the field because I wasn't starting. I wasn't playing all the time. So just trying to lead by having a good attitude, showing up to practice every day. And even if I think I should have been the starter, you know what? I'm going to give it my all in practice. Maybe the coach will start me, maybe he won't. But if he doesn't start me, I'm going to be the best backup goalie in the conference. I'm going to be the best backup goalie in the nation. I'm going to talk to the starter, and I was really close with the starter. He's a great guy. And we're going to be good friends. We're going to talk about everything. I'm on the bench. at halftime, at intermission, going to be talking to them about what I see with them. Guys, midfielders subbing on and off the bench, I'm going to be hyping them up like, hey, great defense, great offense. Guy gets in the penalty box, bring him a bottle of water. Just those little things that show, hey, even if you're not starting, there's still stuff you bring to a team. It's not the 10 guys who start. Awesome, fantastic. But I have no problem. And I did this at Hargrave for a year, made a captain out of a kid who didn't start. And you can do that. If you are a great leader, you bust your butt in the weight room, you get after it in the classroom, you're a great student, and then you bust your hump on the lacrosse field too. Just so happens you don't have quite as much talent as some of the other guys. You can be a captain. You can be a leader. Anyone can be a leader in any situation. It doesn't have to be the same. You don't have to be the biggest, be the fastest, be the strongest. You just have to have the right attitude about it. And part of that does kind of come with confidence too, and just carrying yourself well. That's huge. You really got to think very highly of yourself. You got to get behind yourself first, where I knew and I believed in my heart I could have been the starter for our team. Coach didn't see it that way. That's fine. As I've said, I will do everything I can to make the team better around me and take us forward. Biggest thing for me when I was in college, all the recruits who came on campus, they would stay with freshmen. And when I was a sophomore or junior, that just didn't make much sense to me. The freshmen on our team in the fall, they've been here for what, a month and a half? They don't know anything about the school. I've been here longer. So I would go out of my way for every single freshman recruit that would come on campus. I would go out of my way to be like, hey, my name's James. I'm one of the goalies here. Like, awesome to have you around. You want to come up, you want to hang out and like play some video games with me and some of the upperclassmen. You want to go to the dining hall, you want to go out to the field and watch men's soccer play, you want to go and watch women's volleyball play. That I went out of my way to do that with everyone. And I remember distinctly, I went back one weekend after my junior year when I decided not to go back for my senior year. I went back to hang out with a couple of friends that were in my class. I remember 4 freshmen coming up to me who were there like, hey, like, we're really bummed you're not here this year. You're one of the main reasons we came to school here, like you on our recruiting visit. And that, to me, that was probably one of the best compliments I'd ever gotten. And it's the little things that go a long way. One kid, and I'm still best friends with him now, even though we never went to college together. He came on his visit. He was hanging out with one of the freshmen on the team who didn't stick around very long, didn't stick around the school very long, wasn't very interested, but I was like, hey, Jordan, you're coming with me and my friends. We're going to go hang out. And we went down to the grill on campus. It was called Skeller. And I bought the kid with like my dining dollars. I bought him like a burger and like fries and something. And he was like, man, that was like one of the nicest things I ever got on a recruiting visit. So it's the little things, man, that guys love, whether it be guys on your own team, showing them, like helping them out, doing whatever you can, or once you're already in college and you are an upperclassman, and if your coach gives the recruits to the freshmen, go out of your way to just go say hi. I mean, yes, those recruits are going to be spending way more time with the freshmen when they come in and way more years, but still hang out with them. Just show that you're interested. Same thing at high school. You're a senior, you're a junior in high school, you have freshmen coming in, even if they're not the best player in the world, go and talk to them. High school's scary for freshmen. Go welcome them to the team. You guys do fall off seasons, help them out. Another big thing, if you're an upperclassman in high school, get involved in your local youth lacrosse system. You'll help those kids younger than you. You'll show them the way. And then when you leave, they move on to high school, you're in college, go back over break, help out with those high school kids. Help work a travel team. Something along those lines. It's so huge and it means so much to those kids when you do all of those extra little things. And it makes you more coachable because you're helping coach, you're helping run tryouts, makes you a better person, you work better with others. That is some of the best advice I can give. Either officiate to make some money, which just teaches you the game more, or go and help with your local youth system or travel system over the summers.
Oh, James, that's amazing. I love that point as well, going back and helping the next guys, because it's those little things that make huge impacts. And you demonstrate it with just buying someone a meal. it made a world of difference, and now you're still great friends with him. And people don't realize that just a little bit of effort can go such a long ways, and it's in everything we do, whether it's a sport, college, or business moving forward. We can be very successful by setting a vision, putting in effort, then putting in a little bit more, because that's more than everyone else. And that really hits on some major points of connectivity with people and relationships. James, were you going to say something, James? I don't want to.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I see we're at the top of the hour. I'm just wondering, is there anything else that's on your mind? Anything you want to share with our community right now?
Kind of just reiterating what I said. Get involved as much as possible. I refed when I was younger. I made some really good money doing it. It is a great way if you're in high school to make some extra money, and every league I know of is always short officials. They're always short. Usually the youth season lasts longer than when you're in college. Go home, help do it too. And the other thing, for anyone who is looking to play college lacrosse, there are places to play. I know there's all these studies coming out and there are numbers coming out where there's only so many teams, so many like spots, and only so many people actually play college lacrosse. If you want to play college lacrosse, there is a roster, there is a spot for you if you really want to do it. Now, that being said, there's not necessarily a spot on Lynchburg for you. They're really good. If you're really good and you want to go play at Lynchburg, awesome. But if you want to just play college lacrosse, there is a spot for everyone. Just being in the Midwest, there's a lot of rosters that are below the 30-man mark, and they want to get up to around 40. There's a lot of JUCOs that are growing now. There's MCLA. MCLA is huge. Those places are great to play at. There's some really competitive lacrosse. NAIA, as much as I lose recruits to them sometimes because they offer athletic scholarships, NAIA is growing. They're doing really well. They have some great teams. If you want to play college lacrosse, put your name out there. Make a recruiting profile. Respond to every coach's email. Worst case scenario, you have a phone call and you waste 20 minutes of your life talking to a coach, and then you email them, text them the next day, say, hey, appreciate the call, not interested. Go on as many visits as possible. Just try to see as much as possible. Open your mind up to, if you're from Arizona and a school from Northern Wisconsin emails you, respond to the email. See what happens. There's a place for everyone to play this sport, and it's such a great sport. I want everyone who wants to play at the next level to go and play at the next level. If it's not for me and it's for someone in my conference, so be it, but I want you to play. I have talked with so many kids where they're so new, or they don't have an older brother. Like, I was fortunate to have an older brother who went through the recruiting process. I had friends in high school who went through it. So me and my family, we kind of knew. But if you're the first one in your high school, or you have a new high school program and no one's been recruited before, maybe someone who played football for football, something like that, make a recruiting profile, email every school you want to go to, email their coach introducing yourself. Just the small things. If you have a recruiting profile, you will be found, trust me. And try to get your name out there as much as possible, and you will find a home. I promise. You will find a place to play at the next level. It's such a great sport. I want everyone to play, and I've had conversations with kids where they've been those first kids out of their program or school, and they say, look, coach, I appreciate it, but Northland isn't for me. And I'm like, all right, where do you want to go then? What do you need? Like, do you need help? Do you need advice? Like, I know you might not be coming to play for me because we're really far away or something like that, but I've even passed off one or two guys to my old college from the East Coast where we don't have the right major. We're not the right fit. We're too far away. Like, hey, go look at this school. So that's college coaches want you to play college lacrosse for the most part. You will find the few that probably are a little meaner than others, but if you want to play at the next level, put your mind to it and you will find a home.
James, thank you so much, man, for the time, the passion, the energy that you have is terrific. And I know why you are the youngest guy and you actually have the position in the NCAA, because you love what you're doing and you're putting in the extra work. So keep it up. Let us know if we can do anything to help you moving forward. Thank you so much for your time.
Awesome. Have a good one. I appreciate it, Ryan.